We're talking favorite storylines, creator spotlight, comic buddy cops, and so much more. Welcome to another episode of All About Comics. Let's get into it. Gentlemen, what is going on? To the listeners, welcome to another episode. Got the crew back, myself, Corban. We got Josh, we got Adonnis, the Dream comic team here on a semi-weekly basis at this point, which is kind of nice. Real quick, gentlemen, how y'all doing?
All right.
I'm cool. I got a lag, obviously, so
Not on this end, I hear you.
I'm talking about what I'm seeing.
Oh, the visual, yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of important.
All right. Josh doing okay. Good. We caught up earlier in a little comic crawl, so that was kind of fun. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Had a little fun there. But good to see you, Alon. Without further ado, let's kind of get started. We got our icebreaker for today. And I was very curious what y'all have for this. But what is the most overrated superhero / supervillain power set? We hear a lot of the ones that are like, oh yeah, that'd be really good to have. But like, of the ones that are valid, what would be the most useless? I know I came with some heat. No one.
I've got two.
Okay, please.
But to me, like the obvious one is the most frequent one, which is super strength. Like we see it in everything, and like everybody's super strong. But the thing is, if you have super strength, and people have talked about this before with the like Superman Returns movie and him kind of catching the plane. No, he'd tear right through that plane. Like the degree of like control of the pressure you apply when you're super strong is insane. And yet like everybody's super strong, and yet everybody holds their coffee cup perfectly fine. Everybody like opens a door without ripping the wall off. Like it's something that like is perhaps overused a little bit. And like, yeah.
Dang. I do understand that, but I guess I'm so expecting of it because of like I'm thinking of like ancient mythologies and stuff like that. When they're in God format, you would expect that from them. So I mean, they basically control what they control. So this I do very much so understand what you're talking about, especially with Superman Returns and that plane. Like it crunkled up all up in the front, but everything else was fine. Everything else was fine. That crumpled up like you ran into a box of Skittles or something like that. Like it's fine. It's fine.
Not to mention the whiplash for every single person in the plane. That's hitting basically like stronger than brick walls.
How are the pilots still alive? They should have been turned into jelly on the front of that windshield
upon impact.
Yep.
I think there was an episode of The Boys that did that. I think Homeland, they had to save a plane.
Exactly.
And they didn't save it. Yeah, and he's like, how am I supposed to like? What am I pushing off of to keep it in the air? Like, and when you think, I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. I never thought about that.
I love that they said that he said that, and everybody was like, "Oh, well, you know what? Actually, that does make sense." He's like, "Why would I do that? I would kill them all."
Exactly. It was so, and I don't know why it never occurred to me. Yeah, that was a good one. My favorite, actual comic book. Check it out. Guy's been around like 50 years. Stone Boy. Y'all remember Stone Boy? DC Comics. He applied for the Legion of Superheroes, got rejected, ended up joining the Legion of Substitutes, and end up saving lives. Anyway, he's a superhero who can turn himself completely into stone, but when he does, he can't move or do anything. Like he just turns into stone. And so yes, he can't be hurt, but he can't move. If something else happens, he's stuck there. Like he's just frozen. Yeah, I think his name Dag Wentum is his actual name, from the planet Zwen. And so he's on the Legion of Substitute Heroes, and the Zwenian, he can petrify his body at will. But when he does, that's it. So if he's looking real cool and he's just stuck like that.
Two things you can do with that guy. One, he can be like spy related, where like you have him pose like a statue and just put him somewhere where eventually the people are like talking their shit out in the open in front of him. Two, you can have one of your super strong flyers just drop his ass like a bomb, and the impact.
Yeah,
Boom, boom.
well, definitely. Exactly. Because you're right. Like if you could lift him, you're good because he's far more durable in stone form and he's several times stronger. He just can't actually use it himself, which to me is hilarious. Like, why would I want that? But
Well,
in
my
that way,
question is, my question is like, okay, so since he's in that form, in that form, can he move his eyes? Can he like
so
see
no,
what's going on? So he's basically
technically,
a rock for real.
yeah. With the Zuen people, when they go to stone form, they're technically asleep. So
Oh,
like,
and he's just like asleep too. So the spy thing
yeah,
wouldn't even
he's
work.
out entirely. Hypnotic
He's
suggestion is
just a
the only way he
bomb.
could
He's
wake
just a
up.
bomb you dropped.
We
Yeah.
dropped the bomb on them.
So I thought that was interesting. But I think they found a way to like use a hypnotic suggestion to get him to do some limited like, okay, I'm awake while in stone form. I still can't move, but at least I'm conscious. But
Oh,
originally, no, he just couldn't. He was asleep. That's like it's a superpower for him since he joined the Legion of Superheroes or tried to. But like all of his people have that power. And I just thought that was one of the more useless ones.
that's
Arm
interesting.
fall off boy was a classic one too, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think arm fall off boy makes sense. You can actually use that. It's like if your arm falls off, I could use that as a weapon.
Yeah, Nathan Fillion in the Suicide Squad. Just had his arms like floating, slapping people.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go. So yeah, Stone Boy for me. But that was fun. I just wanted to ask, and I'm like, we talk about all the ones. I think all of us give good ideas. We talk about all the superpowers that are like really cool to have. And it's like, what are the ones that are like, interesting? Like it is a power. No one's denying that. But yeah, no, it's interesting. Well, that was my break. I want to go into our splash page, our main topic. This one we're doing a little segment within it called Panel to Panel, which are many topics that we have all kind of assembled that are going to make up our main discussion tonight. And so our first one, we're kind of going back into the books. We're going back to the basics, which I like. Like we're making it happen. And we're going to talk about some storylines and arcs. We're going to start with some storylines and arcs that we think people should read more. A lot of great books out there. Obviously with the Green Lantern or the Lanterns TV series, people are like, what should I read for Green Lantern? You have, your classic Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, X-Men, all the things. So we read comics, we read in similar circles, we also read in very different circles. And so this is gonna be really interesting to kind of get each of our own recommendations, that if somebody was to say, hey, I would like to know what story I should read. If I was in the street and walking up to you, Josh, we'll start with you, Adonnis, and myself. What is one that you would say, you know what? Check this out.
Yeah, so there are like two that I'm kind of picking between. One is like my favorite comic book story arc I've ever read. But then the other one is one we kind of talked about at the very end of our previous episode, which was The Wonder Twins by Mark Russell. And I think more people should read. I mean, everyone should read The Exiles too, but the Wonder Twins is really fascinating to me because, like, a lot of us grew up watching Super Friends, and like the Wonder Twins were just part of it. And yeah, it's kind of a weird power set. The one thing I never understood was there are a couple of times where like so Jaina, who's one of the twins, she can turn into any animal, basically, including alien animals. And then Zan, her twin brother, he can turn into any form of water. But there were a couple of times where I saw him like form of a bucket of water. How'd you become the bucket, dude? like,
I thought it was only with water. I thought it had to be things. She was living beings and he was things.
Yeah, I had seen some of that before. The most recent stuff, like in this, he takes on like a form of water. Some form of water.
Okay.
Yeah. But so what's really fascinating about this particular run with the Wonder Twins is it is simultaneously like a really realistic look at what their experience with like the Justice League would be and their experience with engaging with super criminals and that sort of thing. But it's not grim. It's not like nihilistic or any of that sort of thing. It still has the same kind of upbeat vibe of the Super Friends. So it's
Okay.
very realistic. A lot of the stuff that happens in there, like Jaina does something that like none of the Justice League can do with a particular bad guy, and she just like takes care of it in a second, just using a clever thing. And like it's one of those things where like, oh, even Superman's getting his butt kicked, but she just understood the assignment better. And then there's like a villain in it who actually isn't necessarily trying to do something evil. He wants to like create change in society, and let's be honest, he's not wrong. And so there's like this moral ambiguity that they kind of deal with too, of the bad guys aren't necessarily bad, or at least not to the degree that you would think. The heroes aren't necessarily right in what they're always doing. But again, it's not grim or dark or like, oh, this is really realistic. Like it vibes like Super Friends, but being like very grounded at the same time. And it makes the Wonder Twins like really cool because even like watching Super Friends growing up, the Wonder Twins were always kind of portrayed as a little bit of a joke. They were like the Orko from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, or what would Snarf from Thundercats, where it's like the kind of annoying mascot kind of thing, and this actually makes them really interesting.
Well, speaking of annoying mascots, did they have that annoying ass monkey with them?
Yes, Gleek is in it, but is not really annoying, and actually has a interesting, if not sad, realistic backstory this time.
Oh, well, howdy doody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Snarf indeed.
There you go. Snarf indeed. All right. Well, Adonnis, what's your first storyline or arc that you would like to share? People need to get their hands on him.
Well, I'm gonna. Whoa, what happened? My lights. Oh my god, I'm too dark.
I did see that.
Oh. Of course, I love comics American, but I'm stepping into the Japanese manga. Naoki Urasawa. He is the one that did these amazing stories that are way more, I guess, adult. So like how Watchmen, how V for Vendetta, how those were, like where it's like some real stuff happening and some like crazy arcs, but then it's also like really cool looking art. Just you're looking at it and you're like, damn, I'm reading a comic book, but it feels like I'm watching a show on HBO. You know, that's the cool stuff that I really like. The one that I'm reading right now from Naoki Urasawa, 20th Century. Oh, so you can see it, but it's a little bit bright. Anyway, 20th Century. This one is it's crazy. It's crazy because it's like we started off with adults and seeing some stuff that they're going through, but then we have jump backs to when they were little kids and how they were growing up. And the time frame when this happens was apparently from the 90s. So when they were little kids, it was in the 60s and 70s. And then they're going through stuff, and then it jumps back to what's happening as they're adults, and then they're seeing some kind of connections of things that they remember and started and did together as kids, and now they're seeing it as adults, and how it's like people are dying and regular folks are noticing that when these people are dying, they're getting marked with the sign that they made up when they were little kids. So they're like, whoa, what's going on? Like, why is this happening? But they're regular folks, they're not detectives. So now they're like, oh crap, I don't want this coming out. I need to understand why this is happening. And then it's starting to get a lot deeper. And that's really cool. Another one by the same author and artist, Monster. That is, I think it's still on Netflix. If you want to watch the anime version of it, my guy, that entire series, I think there's like 75 episodes, was stressful, but at the same time, like, damn, this is crazy. How is a cartoon, an anime, better than shows, entire like real shows? And then that's what draws me to it. Like, there are so many cool things about comics that, I mean, look at what, like we were talking about, lanterns and stuff like that, what it's focusing on, which aspect of the comic superhero that we're so used to is engaging in some real life stuff. How are we as human beings engaging into a world, our regular ass world, with superheroes? How are we going to interact with it? And I really do enjoy when stories do that in any form of media. Like, obviously I love comics, but I love really good shows that are from comics, and they're portraying that story and introducing to me to something that I knew about but didn't have time to engage in, and now I can engage in this format. So yeah, these are some really good, some cool stories. Monster is more so some adult stuff about a really awesome doctor that did like save so many people's lives, and he was this young like superstar, like the best brain surgeon in the entire world and stuff like that in the 80s. And there was this one instance where he had to save 2 kids, but they needed to choose which one he was going to save.
Ooh.
Yeah. And because of the choice that he made, there was a lot that happened.
Ramifications of that.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, some good stuff, man.
That's deep. No, I like it. I'm glad I got to follow it. That's something I have to check out myself. And that's definitely blind spot my own comic reading. Goes, okay, outside of, the big 2 and some indie, there's great storytelling out there. And I, just had to find it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll save we're going to do another wave of these. So I'll save my more conventional stories for that. The first one I guess I'll talk about for this round, if you will. I think he's just an underappreciated writer in general, but Mark Russell has written a lot of really compelling comics and graphic novels off of characters that, like, he did one on the Flintstones that was really interesting. And it's like, oh, I wouldn't expect, a story about them that kind of tackles some real socioeconomic like issues. But one book I stumbled into literally on a whim a couple years ago, and it changed me and just how I looked at comics. It's called Exit Stage Left, and it's the Snagglepuss Chronicles.
Oh,
Heavens to Murgatroyd.
Yep. And he takes Snagglepuss, he takes Huckleberry Hound, these other animals from the Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and puts them in 1953. And you have the McCarthyism, the Lavender Scare. You have, the culture wars that were happening back then. He makes Snagglepuss a gay playwright. And so, he's married, to a woman to kind of keep up appearances, but behind the scenes goes to a gay nightclub. And in this nightclub, you have like actual people and these like characters from the Hanna-Barbera. And at first I'm reading this going like, oh, this is not funny at all. Like, this is kind of deep, like, and it was really, really good. You have the United States arms race. You have, like real things are being dropped in there. Arthur Miller, Marilyn Monroe, all of that. And what I didn't expect the book to be as deep as it was about identity, about culture, culture wars. What is being not even human, but what is living? What is being alive? And how you express yourself through art and how that's taken. And what is it to have an identity and stand with that regardless of criticism, lashback, all of that. And like, I shed a tear reading this book. Like the character arc, for example, of Huckleberry Hound was so incredibly tragic that I was like, wow. And I did not expect this. Like literally, it was a graphic novel I picked up at random. I was like, okay, I guess. Like this is weird, but sure. And it showed me like you can make the most moving, compelling literature, material, entertainment from like the most unlikely of of subject matter, of unlikely of characters, because I would never look to Snagglepuss. Ever since then, I've not looked at Huckleberry Hound or Snagglepuss the same way. I'll see him flash across like an old Cartoon Network or whatever, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're the ones from the book, and not know they're the ones from the cartoon. And for a writer to be able to kind of create this deep tapestry where you felt like you were there, and you did have, some of the racing back in the day and all the other stuff kind of bleed into the book in a way that it almost kind of suspends your disbelief, because I'm like, I'm clearly reading cartoon characters, but yet they're alongside everyday white, Black, Asian, Hispanic people all in this book, just living like normal. And it really kind of gives you like a cognitive dissonance of like, okay, we're clearly in a made up world, but yet it's almost like a little like a weird twist on Marvel, The World Outside Your Window. It's
Yeah.
kind of like that. It was a very moving story, very poignant. I thought it was kind of inventive. It won a couple of GLAAD awards, and that was kind of cool for them on that. But in general, just objectively as a person, just wanted to read a good story. It felt like I was watching like a drama, but reading it in a kind of comic. So
Damn.
that's one I'd like to read for those who go, hey, comics aren't, they're just for fun, or they're just about, superhero fights and this and that. I would point them to that book to be like, actually, there is so much more in there. And this is a gateway for you to read a book that kind of seems, easy entry, and you read and it's totally different. You don't need to know anything about Huckleberry Hound. You don't need to know anything about Snagglepuss except that they're animals that are alive in 1953. Accept that, read it, and just let the rest do what it do.
That's so cool, man. Like, I really do enjoy like the approaches from the things we grew up as kids, with all the superpowers and all this wild adventures and whatnot, but then applied to what happens when that show's over, when their episode's done. What is the world that they live in? I love that stuff. Shout out to Sanford Green's Bitterroot, with a steampunk like sci-fi one. The art alone is what draws me in, but then like what the story is about, like the time frame in the, what was it, the 60s and something like that. And it's like they're out there killing demons and catching stuff like that, but it's these Black people that are using like old school magic and steampunk stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, we gotta make sure we keep ourselves, in check, because we ain't trying to get shot by the cops. And we ain't trying to have to go to jail. And now I have to miss what's going on, because if I get arrested, I can't save this entire city. It's like it's
The
crazy.
stakes are
Yeah.
big and different.
It's when authors and artists come together to make some cool stuff like that. That's why we're here, because we really like that shit. There's so much friggin' opportunity to explore the imagination. It's so freaking cool.
100%. We love it. We love it. Josh, we're going back to you. Any other
well, I
storylines?
have to note, like, that's two Mark Russell storylines so far: Wonder Twins and Snagglepuss. Again, taking characters that were almost viewed as like jokes at the time and turning them into like something
Real stuff.
meaningful and like real. Yeah.
Wait, you said, I didn't realize, I misheard you. You said Mark Russell did that one too?
Yeah, Mark Russell.
I missed
did the
that.
Wonder Twins.
Oh,
yeah.
I totally missed that. Crazy. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's very interesting thematically. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
the other one I have to shout out, like I keep mentioning, is Exiles, which, like, I'm an X-Men guy. I was in formulative years when Age of Apocalypse happened and stuff like that, and you see your first kind of like alternate X-Men, and if this thing went different, this is how it might play out and stuff. And Exiles, there's just different X-Men characters from different realities pulled together into this like bubble in time where like nothing really exists, and they can't go back to their own realities until they fix X number of other broken realities. And
Oh,
so it's basically like a mixture of X-Men, Sliders, the TV show from like the 90s, Sliders, where they're constantly going to different like
Classic.
universes, different worlds and stuff, and like Marvel's What If, because like it's still Marvel stuff, but like on this world, this thing did or did not happen, and these are the ripple effects. And like I was telling you earlier today, Corbin, I don't want to spoil the first spot,
Yes.
but like they get to a world where like superheroes are basically all imprisoned, and they have to set free the leader of like the person who could lead these heroes into fixing and correcting this timeline in this world. And then the person that they all think they should rescue turns out to not be the correct choice. And I'll leave it at that. But yeah, there's fantastic characters in it. Blink from Age of Apocalypse. More
Blink 182.
Clarice Ferguson, the teleporter, from Age of Apocalypse. She's in it. There's a version of Morph that's similar to the Age of Apocalypse one, but different. One of my favorite characters, I drafted him in the fantasy draft I did with Corbin and Charlie on this channel. Mimic, the Mimic from a different world where he basically became like a cross between Cyclops and Captain America. Like he's the like best, like the ideal superhero there, and he gets sucked into this timeline where now he has to go to all these different messed up realities where the people he's familiar with, the people he loves, they're sometimes people he has to be in direct opposition to, and like how to deal with that. And like, yeah.
Really
and Thunderbird, probably the most like screwed over X-Men character of all time, where like let's make our first indigenous character, and then we're gonna kill him in the second issue that he appears in. Yeah, he died in like a plane crash in like the second issue after the giant size X-Men with Wolverine, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Storm, Banshee, Sunfire, and Thunderbird. And Thunderbird was killed off. There's a version of Thunderbird in this who was a horseman of apocalypse in his reality, and so he has to deal with like, am I still a man? Am I a monster? Like a lot of really cool stuff. And again, if you're like an X-Men fan or a Marvel fan, like getting to see how these worlds are different and how they have to fix them is really fascinating. It's a really fun book. I would suggest the entire stretch that Judd Winnick wrote, which is the first issue. I think the first 4 collected editions, the first 4 trade paperbacks. Really good stuff.
Damn,
that's deep, and it's also something like.
Oh, sorry.
No, Adonnis, you go. Yeah.
When you said Sliders, damn, like everything you were talking, this is Marvel's version of Sliders, and like we are already like really familiar and wanting all of the alternate universes, but it's Marvel's all those Marvel universes that we're applying Sliders to. Like, fam, Peeps, if y'all don't know what Sliders is, you know what you got to do. You know you want
Mhm.
you know you on a computer. Google that junk. Stop playing. Google it. Watch it. Don't say nothing.
Yep.
Watch the first season. Don't say nothing. Okay. Back in the day, it was progression. You didn't have to get the entire story in one season because you might not get the next one. Now, back in our day, at least 3 seasons was off rip. Then you get more. Sit down, do your research. Sliders was awesome. Exiles.
Yeah.
I haven't read them, but this makes me want to engage in them now. So thank you, Josh.
Definitely Adonnis. When you do get a chance to, let me know what you think.
All right.
Like I said, it's my favorite.
Having a front row seat to talk about it earlier today, Josh, was compelling. You actually, like I said, you showed me there was a small volume. It wasn't direct. It was directly from this series.
Yeah, the first volume. I think that was just the first 6 issues.
First 6, yeah. And so showing it to me, I was like,
2 or 3 realities that they have to fix.
That they have to face. And so like I literally went here and I got Marvel Unlimited already. So I pulled like that's gonna be my reading this week. And it's the second time now that Josh, we did a show again doing our superhero draft teams, which y'all should check out. That episode was really fun. Where Josh dropped some lore about a character. I was like, and then it gave me some great reading where it educated me on a character I didn't know and how OP Iceman really is. So we'll leave that there.
Don't disrespect Bobby Drake.
As I had.
You're a Drake fan then. Okay, got it.
No, just a Bobby Drake fan.
Yeah, like I said, Drake.
I side with Kendrick.
All right, Adonnis, we are back to you, my friend.
The
final wave. Any other books you'd say, hey, listen, like folks need to check it out, give it a read, give it a shot. If you don't have any, that's fine too.
No, there are so many.
I know you have a bunch.
And I'm just like I'm really trying to find some that, I mean, my oldie but goodie is always the Watchmen, like the real Watchmen. Like that was some stuff that I got. I remember getting those from a neighbor at this apartment building that this apartment complex we moved in before my brother was born. So I was like 8 when we moved in there, and this dude that was right next to our unit was leaving, and I was outside playing, and he was like, "Hey kids, you like comics?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he gave me this crate full of comics, and that crate was, I think, issue 1 through 9 of Watchmen. And I started reading 1, and I was like, "What is this?" And I didn't get it, but I still got them chunks, and I got the rest. And like, seriously, from watching the movie and seeing the differences and the similarities that Zack Snyder did from the series, from the issues, and watching the Watchmen that they did on HBO, the series, I was just like, there's so much that can be done, man. There's so much in here. This is some like we were talking about earlier. This is some what if superpowers were in our fucking real world? People up here having to go fight Vietnam. People up here have to sit up there and pay their child support. They have to do all this junk. Oh, and my side hustle is doing superhero work. I got to go save this city at this time because they need extra help. So I'm signed up for when there's an emergency. They basically are not Coast Guard, National Service, National. That's that branch that is for emergencies and stuff like that. And it's like, how would you deal with that? You got powers and everything like that. Like all of those in Watchmen, they sit up there, punch somebody, they flying across the room and all that shit like that. But you also got a crappy day job. You're going through all kinds of marital troubles with your wife. You just had your second kid, and you're not making enough money to pay for all the medical stuff that y'all need, all the other junk. So now your wife is out there hustling. Who's watching the babies? Now you sitting up there doing all your stuff, and then you getting hunted in the back end by the villains, by the gangs that was working for the villains. That was like, oh, you messed up my boss, I'm gonna kill your family. Now you gotta go to work. You gotta be a husband or a wife, and you gotta be a parent, and you got to make sure that your whole entire life is safe, or else all of y'all will die. It's like that's the real stuff, man. I think that's fascinating when we see it from that perspective.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think like again, and we've been discussing that with a few of the books here, but looking at comics as a medium to tell these deeper stories in a different way, and utilizing the artwork aspect. We've had a discussion. That was one of the very first episodes of this show where y'all helped me see the light of like, yes, great writing because that sets the stage, but especially in comics, the artwork is the tapestry that really gets your eyes going, and y'all convinced me again. I've always appreciated good artwork. I've always appreciated those who can do it, partly because I'm a crappy artist. Maybe I dismissed it a little bit more. I'm willing to say that. Worst artist in my family by far. I'm like, yeah, who needs the artist? The writing. But as we talked about before, it's both. And when you can use that to tell stories that aren't just, they're not just your superhero clashes, but they're deep stuff, urban thrillers, character reconstructions. And I think that's really, really neat. So
our homie from that important, very important classic that is one of the reasons why we are here having our discussions. He said it so eloquently every time, and I think about it when we have our discussions. But his famous phrase, "Let our powers combine."
Captain Planet. that was perfect. That was perfect. Wow. Well done.
That was very good.
That was amazing. Well done indeed.
The lovely thing is, like, you can also do, maybe not in a comic format, but maybe in a online shorts format, you could do what if Captain Planet was more realistic? And he just wants to turn motherfuckers into trees.
Don Cheadle already got that
covered. Tree.
I'll turn you a fucking tree. That was hilarious. I love that. Yes.
And again, not necessarily wrong.
Hey, hey, he's here to save the planet. His name is Captain Planet.
What did he say?
Not Captain Humanity, Captain Planet.
He said, "Power to the planet, motherfucker." That's what the power is mine. I was like, yeah, you got it, Don. That's it.
Hey, fam, hey, let me get out your way. No, he's throwing out trash in the wrong spot. That wasn't me.
That wasn't me.
I recycle.
I recycle. I do it the way it's supposed to be done. No. My last recommendation round, I'm gonna go more conventional for sure. Gotta have Kingdom Come. Mark Waid. We talked about that earlier. I talked about Josh at least earlier. And then of course the favorite of all time, Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. That's heat. And what I like about this is, yes, they are your normal superhero books, but within that, there's so much more. Kingdom Come is your Justice League book, if you will. But it's set in the future. It was a response to, we'll probably have this on different podcasts, but getting both of y'all experiences being children of the 90s. Like, you had the 90s come out, you had the bigger, more aggressive characters, and comics was on the brink of collapse and all sorts of things. And so Mark Waid and Alex Ross got together and they were like, okay, what is our answer to this? And so they did a story where, okay, we are in the universe where the violent heroes with the 18 million guns and all sorts of spikes rule. Superman's been gone. Exactly. Superman's been gone. Wonder Woman's been gone. Green Lantern, all of that. What happens if we bring the heroes that we grew up with back into this world? How do they live within that? How do they take order back? And what I love about it, it's a human story, because they come in and they like, we're going to solve it the way we used to. We're going to crack down on folks and we're going to build a gulag, and they build it. And it's funny. There's so many homages in this book. If you know comics, you'll love it for sure. If you don't know, it won't be lost on you. But they have the gulag is basically the Legion of Doom headquarters from Challenge of Super Friends. Like, that's how they build it, right? But they have this set, and meanwhile you do have the humans who are like, hey, we're tired of being pawns in this superhero game. We have a response of our own. And then of course you have your normal comic book villainry with Lex Luthor and some others, and a character that's going to be very integral. I mean, it's not a surprise, but a character that, like, we can use you to be our superhuman representative. And that's basically a brainwashed Shazam. It's a very good story. Alex Ross, the artwork is powerful, the way that he's able to do it. Mark Waid knows literally every DC Comics character. And so the lore that he builds on top, he was the first one, to my knowledge, that had Dick Grayson as Red Robin before Red Robin ever existed, actually. And in Mark Waid's, like, in his mind back in the 90s, he was like, yeah, I feel like Dick Grayson would be his own man, still fight crime, but also have a family. It wouldn't be going down the path that Bruce Wayne does in the book, where Bruce Wayne shuts himself off and lives in the cave and is just married to his work. He's like, Dick is dedicated, but he's also going to do, Dick Grayson things, which is more of the more well-adjusted superheroes that we're aware of. So that was cool. That's the first book. The second one is the 40th anniversary. It's big. Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. I'm gonna have to spend a lot more time on this because it is such a powerful book to me. But it is a world where Batman comes back after being 10 years retired at age 55, and it's a whole new world. And so he's taking down new threats. You have the New Mutants. You're living in a increasingly politicized and polarizing world where it's set in the near future, but the United States is still under the control of Ronald Reagan, which is very interesting. But you also have the return of, like, the Joker and Two-Face and even Superman, who is the government's pawn. And so there's these deeper thoughts, but as a reader, all you have to know is who Batman is and let the book take you the rest of the way, because it does talk about identity. It does talk about mortality and what it means to be a hero and what that looks like in different ways. And so those are the two classics. They are seminal works of art. Dark Knight Returns is literally one of the books next to Watchmen that remade comics for better or for worse to the way they are today. And I would say both. Exactly. Yeah. I would say both. And then Kingdom Come is a sleeper for me, but it's definitely not like it's a top 20 graphic novel of all time. So yeah, those would be my final two entries.
Frank Miller is Frank Miller.
We're gonna talk about him.
Frank Miller. Yeah, fam.
100%. Well, we know it's funny, that goes right to our next topic here on the splash page, which is favorite creator spotlight. And so, Adonnis, I'm gonna let you start because I'm gonna start going to Josh. Well, only because I'll let you.
I don't want to.
Okay, what I mean is I'll let you share your thoughts on it. Okay. But my first creator, I'm gonna do me, then Josh, then you. I am throwing out Frank Miller as a creator that I want to spotlight. And I was talking to Josh about this. I was like, it's almost like, Josh, we also, and you too, Adonnis, like, follow basketball to some differing degrees. But instead of saying, I want a player from just their entire career, I want to get them in their prime. I want from this year to this year. And so for Frank Miller, I wanted from 1979, 1978 to 1987, because that's when you have his run on Daredevil. That's when you get his work with Elektra. That's when you get The Dark Knight Returns. That's when he's at the peak of his powers. And yes, he did some great work before that, and he did some decent work after that.
Hey,
but
fam,
if you want that peak.
Those are the
Ronin. I forgot to mention Ronin.
Not only Ronin, I got that junk too, fam. That's where Samurai Jack came from.
Yeah. Yep. Batman Year One, 1987.
What you call Sin City.
So Sin City, that came in the early 90s. I should have said that. I know. But Frank got a little wild in the 90s too. You're right. Maybe I should have said 91, 92. But he got, like, if I'm talking peak of his powers, give me 79 to 87. Because the dude was putting out hits back then that have changed the way comics are now. You introduce Elektra. You introduce the freaking Hand. You remake Batman's origin, his first story, and you make Batman's the last story. To the point that even the beads that Martha had when she got killed were never part of DC's comics history before he introduced that. And all of a sudden, in every Batman movie we ever see, with the exception of
you see the necklace
of Pattinson's, we have to see the necklace break, right? He was the one with Dark Knight Returns where Batman's fighting and he's like, well, what happened to Jason? And Batman's like, listen, Jason was a good soldier, but the war goes on. And everyone's like, what do you mean? Jason's still alive. And then DC was like, killing off Jason, interesting, maybe we should do that. And then we get Death in the Family, right? So, like, these are ideas that Frank Miller just threw out there. There was no like investigating that. He was like, nope, Jason in this universe is dead, and what will that do to Batman then? And then DC editorial was like, yeah, that's a great idea, maybe we should do that. And then the same thing with the origin story for Batman and introducing that. And yes, there's some, he has some political thoughts that come in that are definitely, you know, interesting, that permeate the work. He definitely has a way with women, or I should say he doesn't have a way with women in the comics. In those, the lack thereof, and just how they are presented when they are in there. And yeah, sometimes, as we know a little bit later, after Sin City and 300, which he also did, you know, in the late 90s, as he had some great work still, but he had some misfires. He had Holy Terror, which was so bad he was kind of not blacklisted at all, but he was definitely out the loop for a bit. That was it's a pretty racist piece of work, Frank, but no way of saying it. But like, all in all, the dude is a legend, and to see him back right now getting his flowers, we talked about him last week, him wanting to do, you know, The Dark Knight Returns as a movie with Zack Snyder, which, like, okay, whatever you feel about that, like, he wants to do that. Like, seeing him do that and get back out there is great. But from 79 to 87, give me that guy, just bangers on the comic industry.
I mean, you can like, from a literal standpoint, I love books, man. Like friggin' Stephen King, like his whole run in that time with the Dark Tower, like that chunk before he gave up being an alcoholic. Not saying he shouldn't not be an alcoholic, but I'm saying that it helped. just saying.
A lot of his hits were also when he was doing coke.
Again,
and to be fair, it shows in those hits,
and
but they're still hits.
exactly.
It is.
We're not
And he did come out.
We're not saying do that, but
No,
Yeah,
definitely not.
but-
Definitely not.
Yeah. And he did come out and he did say, like, listen, like, a lot of the stuff I said back then, I was in a dark place in my own life. And that's something to remember about comic creators and people in general. When they go through real shit, how that affects them, right? So he came back out. He's like, hey, a lot of that stuff back then, my bad. I wasn't in the right headspace, right? And I can go, you know what, Frank? That's fine. You know, but even then, like I said, he's put out so much, like you mentioned, Adonnis, Sin City. We brought up The Spirit, right? You know, 300, Ronin. But give me 79 to 87 and let me cook, man. Well, let him cook and let me be happy about that.
You can't cook. I've been to your kitchen.
He did not need to put me on blast like
Frank
that, man.
Miller to cook.
That's why I want Frank Miller to cook. I'll take Adonis cooking. I'll take Josh. Just don't let me cook. Anyways, Josh, we're on to you.
Yeah. So for me, I've been kind of looking at these two different artists recently, and I think there's like an interesting difference between them. I think they're both fantastic artists. One of them is like my favorite comic book artist ever. I actually showed Corban one of the covers that he did when we were at Second Charles. So one is Travis Charest, who's like best known for Wildcats, like Jim Lee, Wildcats. He did like most of the Alan Moore run, did a lot of the James Robinson run, and he did a lot of covers after he left too. And he's just this, like, his characters feel real. Like I've mentioned this to you guys before. I'm not a big fan of like clearly roided out Olympic gymnast / bodybuilders who have less than 1% body fat and all of their clothes perfectly nestle into every muscular crease so that you see like all the striations in each muscle. I know that that's generally like what comic book art is, but his just has this like you can still tell they're strong and that sort of thing, but like they feel real. And on top of it, he's really good with texture, like cloth, leather, mechanical objects. Everything feels very real and like you can almost touch it.
What's his name again? Travis what?
Travis Charest. I'll type it in the chat too. Yeah, like he's got very, very detailed line work. And like it can feel like really busy in most artists, but his still feels clean in a weird way, like very detailed, but still feels clean. And that was one of the artists growing up that I really appreciated his style. And again, especially in the 90s, there was a lot of stylistic similarities. Like almost every artist they all had their own, style, but they all still fit the like, this is superhero comic book art. Like, and he kind of was one of the first that really changed that perspective for me. And then, but like he I think is much better at like individual image compositions. Like if you took just any of his panels, like excellent. Not quite at not he wasn't bad, but he's not quite as good at like panel layout and storytelling through like how you set up the panels and that sort of thing. And I was recently looking at the Matt Fraction David Aya run of Hawkeye, um, and he is kind of the opposite. It's like much less line work, especially in Hawkeye. Like it was a little more detailed in the Immortal Iron Fist, but his work, particularly in Hawkeye, is like a more stripped down, not really cartoony, but not like over the top either. Like the whole book feels very real because it's built around Hawkeye, and like one of the aspects I really like about that book is like he's not fighting aliens or some supervillain or something. He's just protecting the apartment building that he lives in from a nearby mafia group.
Yeah, very human stakes. Really.
Very human stakes. Like, and the art kind of reflects that. But there's also, I think you'd really appreciate that Hawkeye run, Adonnis, because there's a lot of like design elements in his artwork too, where it's not necessarily, splash page type, look at Jim Lee in his bag type stuff, but a lot of really good storytelling, like comic book storytelling through the artwork, where it's, how he sets up the panels helps you feel this conversation happen, helps you feel this sequence of events happen. And they won an Eisner for one particular issue of that run where the entire comic book was told through the perspective of the dog.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's mostly like dialogue free, following the dog and like just how they tell that story visually, using the panel layouts, using the like design typology and stuff that he uses to kind of convey what the dog is thinking and stuff, is just next level storytelling through comic book art. And so I thought that was like an interesting juxtaposition between these two artists that I really love, both of them. And one's more of my like, that's what I want in terms of like a single image. Like if I want a single image or if I want a cover, that's the fucking guy I want doing it. And then, if I want like a story that really has to involve creative visual storytelling, I want him.
That's the best representation for you. I like that.
Yeah.
Shoot, those are some heavy hitters, man. Those are some heavy hitters.
Yeah, they are.
I guess for me, when it comes to American comics, I think about like that time that I got that crate full of comics. The issues that were in there, plus the issues that I got, the toys, the action figures, the shows that I was watching, and then some of those action figures came with comics in the back. Then going to the comic book shop that was next to the house, and my mom was like, "Oh, let's go pick a new comic." And when Pokemon cards first was dropping and jump like that, like going and just exploring and seeing the things that caught my attention. When I was a kid, I loved Dragon Ball Z. I loved of course, Looney Tunes. I love Batman the Animated Series. I love that stuff. I love those cartoons. Saturday morning cartoons was a heavy hitter. We would go to Blockbuster and then we would get certain episodes or certain seasons and the VHS and then pop that in. And then my pops, I think I'm pretty sure I discussed this already. Pops said, go ahead and pick something. And of course, which is why I love this genre so much, this one cartoon I saw had a ninja or a samurai on it. And I was like, all right, cool. Let me get this junk. Didn't know that I was introducing myself to some adult friggin' anime, Ninja Scrolls. Ninja Scrolls got me thinking like, oh, first off, there was blood and there was boobies and there was fighting all over the place. I was just like, yo, what is this? Pops turn, cover my eyes. Hey, whoa. Press pause. And I'm sitting up there like, what is this? Cartoons can show blood? What the heck? Because of that, because of us renting Ninja Scrolls, segue, they went back and bought the VHS, and I grew up on that junk from off rip. From there, I got introduced to Ghost in the Shell. Then I saw things that made me think of that, get that same vibe and feeling in comics. The comic artist that drew me in to that vibe, Todd McFarlane. When Todd McFarlane hit me with the Spawn, I was like, oh, snap. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. There's so much, like, he's evil. Greg Capullo taking over freaking Todd McFarlane with Spawn. I thought that was so cool. The painting, the colorist that took over and did Greg Capullo's style in that way. When Greg Capullo took over Batman in New 52, like, I was like, oh, he's on this? Bet. I'm getting everything they got until they take him. When Greg Capullo was doing Haunt, when he was in there with that, I was like, I'm on all of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love it when an artist sits up there and adds all those extra things, those extra muscles, and still it's got the real movement, doing all the extra. Like, I love that stuff. Like, it's, for whatever reason, it just makes me think, oh gosh, I would have never thought of putting that position the way it is. Mark Bagley, his version of Spider-Man, that was it for me. Like, I would destroy comics by cutting out panels and taping them all over my wall in my room and thinking, yeah, and continuously copy those eyes. Spider-Man, the way it is now and Brand New Day and all of the MCU, got the small OG eyes. I get it, blah, blah, blah. However, Andrew Garfield's version, where he had the big eyes, I was like, that's Spider-Man. That's Spider-Man. Because that's what I grew up with, Mark Bagley. Jim Lee, his version of X-Men, his run on X-Men. I loved it. I really did. Those summer calendar runs on Marvel, where they had various Marvel characters swimming and doing all that stuff. I thought that was so cool. Like, again, Eric Larson, his run is with the not the Patriot in Image, but when Image was dropping, it was Savage Dragon. He did the Savage Dragon. I loved Savage Dragon. I thought that was cool. I had the Patriot too. Patriot didn't last for very long, but I loved Image, and that's why I guess that was the start of me saying, oh, I still love Spider-Man. I still love Batman. But what about these other things? What else? What else is out there? When Vertigo was doing stuff, Dark, I forgot what it was. The dude that wore the mask and he was like, he was conjured from like demon stuff, leftovers, but he's a hero. Dark Simon, I think it is.
Vaguely familiar. You're in my gap. I don't know.
Oh, yo. I'm gonna put you on that game. I think it was like, thank you, Josh. Dark Simon, I think, is the one where it is. Yo, it's in the DC universe, and I think it's in one of the cities outside of Gotham. And his hero is Batman, which is why he's doing what he's doing. But it is some wild stuff going on. Check it out. That's the stuff that I like. That's the stuff that I like. Dark Horse, Vertigo issues from there. Like I forgot who the artist was in the 2000s, either early 2000s or mid 2000s, like 2000 teens. That one artist that did the Wild Run for Animal Man. You know what I'm talking
I know
about? Where it was
exactly.
like,
Yeah,
it got kind of crazy, but it was mainly focusing on how he
I'm
was
looking up right now
dealing
because
with that and how he was just like going through all that junk and trying to like remember, like,
not Grant
oh,
Morrison.
I'm human. I'm human. But then all the transformations and things that he was going through. Yo, that was a heavy hitter, man. Like I'm telling you, like there's some cool stuff that happens outside of the main stories, like you were talking about with the Wonder Twins, like you were talking about with the Snagglepuss. Like it's like, yes, there's the MCU and the DCU, blah blah blah, all that junk. But there are other things. Like what was the one? I forgot what it was. The one. I forgot the Legion, Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Doom Patrol. I was not expecting to like them as much as I liked it. And like the show put me on game. Because I watched that show, I was like, damn. They're going this lane in this universe. I didn't know this universe could have things like this. It was too goody two shoes type Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And I want that dark stuff. I like the dark stuff because of growing up on those manga, those anime series, those anime movies, like those OSTs, man. There's some really, speaking of which, if y'all want to get into some crazy stuff, go on YouTube and just type in OSTs. Like you will find some crazy, like whole entire stuff. Dark Stalkers, that video game, the fighting game, they have their own frigging anime that just goes over like the characters and what the purpose of that game is, why the game exists and why the characters exist. It goes into that. There's some cool stuff out there that's not in the realm of the main. You know what I'm saying? And people need to explore it. Oh, I love comics. It's like me being Jamaican, firstborn Jamaican, firstborn American. From with all my family and all the junk that I had to deal with. Oh, you should know this. I didn't grow up in your country. Oh, and then me cussing up there saying to my other friends that are American, oh, this is how you do it. And they're like, what are you talking about? That's not how it is. You should know this. Why do you sound like this? Anyway, from sitting up there, like thinking like, yo, there's so many things. Like I had to figure out how to like what I liked because I was getting battles from both sides. Like, oh yeah, you an American. No, you're Jamaican. No, you got to think like this. No, you got to think like this. And I'm just like, but I just want to know cool stuff. And there are so many things out there that are freaking cool that people can just go and discover, man. Like real talk, man. There's so many things out there. If y'all want to explore, if y'all want to figure, like find some new junk, holla at us. We'll show you the way.
There you go.
This is the way.
I love that. Exactly. My last comic creator, actually a friend of both, well, a former friend of both myself and Adonnis. He did so much. Brian Augustine. Come on now. Brian Augustine, the late great Augustine, was somebody we worked pretty close with during Comic Playground. Shout out to Frank Caliendo, and yeah, a great human, first of all. You know, like, yes, a great writer, but a great human. I remember, like, he used to work with me, mess with me so much because Adonnis could see he had definitely like a rough kind of exterior and was very sarcastic. And I never got the sarcasm. Like, it always went over my head every single time.
Huh? What?
Exactly.
Wait. Oh.
But like, he was one of those people, like when I met him, I was like geeking. I was like, oh my God, you wrote Gotham by Gaslight. And he was like, yeah, you know, I kind of did that. You know, it was just like, we had to fill a deadline. It was 1989. My first thought was what if Superman landed in Russia? And I was like, that's stupid. And then obviously somebody else picked it up, and years later, Superman Red Sun is born, right? But what I loved about Augustine, I mean, as a person, obviously Adonnis knows, a humble guy, been in the industry for years. He did everything, man. Like, he worked with his Mark Waid. That's how I got to meet Mark Waid, was from hanging with Brian Augustine. They were great friends. He worked as editor of the Flash, and during that Mark Waid run in the 90s that really helped the Flash blow up. That 8-year Augustin Wade run editor writer partnership it won awards. Like, he did that, right? He wrote Gotham by Gaslight. He wrote its sequel, which, we don't have to talk about. He wrote that too. He did everything from Archie for years to Mega Man. He did a 4-issue Mega Man series. Yep. He did Bugs Bunny. He did Star Wars tales. If you have them old school, The Joker, greatest stories ever told, Batman, greatest stories ever told, he was the editor for that. Like, he did so much in the comic industry. And it's one of those guys that, again, there's so many legends. He passed away, 2022, but there was so many who have gone. It's like, it's important to remember those who have paved the way for now, because they were those who 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, he was writing up until he passed, right? And that work should be celebrated. You know what I mean? And so, unfortunately, we're not going to get any more new work. We have so much that he's put out there. His Archie stuff celebrated. Read the Flash run. Mark Waid was at the peak of his powers. Mark Waid said Augustin helped him with that. Like, they helped each other on that. So boom, Gotham by Gaslight, reimagining the Dark Knight, the first story to really reimagine it in a different time, and also the first official Elseworlds comic ever. Period. That's all there. So I just want to give a shout out to him. I know it's somebody that we both knew, and I was just looking at my comic. I left it at home, but my signed comic, I was like, man, look back at his work. I was like, geez, I did not realize how much he did. Exo Man of War, Painkiller Jane, just so much all over the industry. And I think that type of thing should be celebrated. And the way you can do that, to those who are no longer with us, read the work. That's something that transcends. With us
Pay
or
your
not,
respects.
there you go. That work is there, and they will entertain you, stun you, thrill you, all of that. That's what great literature and great comics do. And that's my last one. Thank you. Any other creators, or we want to move our next?
I mean,
there's a ton we could talk
exactly.
There's true. There's
Right.
true. You're right. You're right. Let's we'll keep it back to run. We can always come back on this and dip back and share another creator. Let's go to our last kind of splash page topic, and this was kind of inspired from the Lanterns TV series that's out now. By the time we're recording this, a new episode already dropped a couple hours ago. Inspired by movies like Deadpool and Wolverine, you get your tandems, you get your duos. You get your two comic characters that make it work. Like Josh has a shirt on right now. So we kind of threw this together. If we were going to have a comic buddy cop duo, what two comic characters would you pair together? And this was a fun one, because I know me and Josh talked about, Josh was thinking about this literally for the last 2 days, like trying to find one. I went with like the most basic right in front of me answers. Of course I did. I don't know what Adonnis did. I'm very curious to hear that. But yeah.
Me too. I'm excited.
I love it. Oh, and you know what's funny? I had the perfect one, and then I immediately forgot it. So I'm gonna let Josh. You've been cooking on this for me. I'm gonna let you go first.
You had the
Why?
perfect. Wait. How can you have the perfect one and then
Because
can't remember?
Your boy didn't write it down.
Whose fault is that?
I know.
Who fault is that? What, you forgot the Google link to the Google Doc?
I mean, did we barely get it right? No, okay, no, we're not going to put me on blast right now. Just give me a second to refund. Oh, I got it. I'll do mine real quick. And honestly, it's pretty basic, but they are so fun. It was already done in the comic book. I don't know. It was already done in the comic book this past year. Give me Batman Beyond. Give me Static Shock.
Oh,
Yep. No, that's
Like
a good one.
that was the first team up, and we've seen it before. It's been done in the animated series. Batman Beyond they've crossed over before, but when you look at them in the peak of their time, both them young heroes, both them coming from different areas. Static Shock just being black in the area where it's like, dude, I have these powers. What am I supposed to do with it? Terry McGinnis coming from an area where, like, dude, I also grew up on the other side of the tracks. I'm also trying to figure out this great responsibility and this power I have. Sorry to use a Spider-Man pun, but like I have this other stuff here, and like both of them are in similar age ranges depending on when you put them there. Because in the comic series, I think Static was older, but like put them in the same range and let them go on adventures together and like kind of see the juxtapose, because Terry McGinnis is more serious than Static, but Terry is also more impulsive at times. And so how does that work? How do you juxtapose those two? Where Terry's like, listen, you are a hero and that's great and all, but I was trained by Batman. Like, I know what I'm doing. And then Static's like, yo, I get what you're saying, but I've been a hero for a while by myself. Like, I need Batman for this. I saved y'all once. Like, you kind of have that. You kind of have that juxtaposition. Give them a villain worthy of that. I don't even know one off the top of my head. Like, I can even you could go with the number of ones. In fact, this has been done before, but give me like an old brainwashed Superman. Give me that classic, because you have ties to both characters. It's freaking Superman. He's older, so the power level, while still way better than those two, is not quite up to the levels of like not even a fair fight. And give me something like that where it's like, okay, we're not taking down an enemy. We're more like rehabilitating or bringing someone back and like trying to work together to do that. I think that would be a nice little buddy team up. Adonnis.
As you were talking, I started thinking of a villain because you said Superman, and I was like, oh yeah, but what if it was like, dang it, I forgot the gorilla's name.
Gorilla Grodd?
Grodd, him controlling Bizarro.
Oh, that would be interesting because now, yep, you have a power level and he's not in his mind at all. Yeah, and you have to find a way. There you go. Like, you need something that would make it work where you are defeating a villain, and in this case, Grodd, but you're also like, both of these heroes, they can take down guys. They've done it before, but they're better at like, all right, we're trying to turn people, like that's kind of what they do. So yeah, I think that's a great team up. I like it. That'll be my buddy cop duo.
Okay. Josh, you next.
Yeah. Next, my friend.
So, as you both know, especially Corban, when it comes to basketball stuff, I tend to over analyze these things.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So I wasn't just like, oh, who'd be interesting together. I was like, which characters are functionally like opposites in multiple ways, but I think would become friends over time. Because that's buddy cop stuff. Like, we're direct opposites, but we learn to like enjoy each other.
And of course, we ain't too old for this shit.
Yes, I am, but they aren't. So I'll just tease out the duo I came up with. So she is very serious and a leader of her country. She's a technological genius, capable of great focus, one of the most like brain-centered characters in all the comics. Very mature for a younger sibling character. And she's royalty in the most technologically advanced country on Earth. Shuri. Okay. And then he is a lighthearted jokester, goofball. He's not looked to for leadership, doesn't seek it out either, really. Whether it's through an inability, ADHD, or lack of desire, he's not really hyper-focused. He's one of the most like heart-centered characters in comics. Often seems immature, and he's a mutant who lives in the sewer. Michelangelo.
That's yep.
So
yep,
like opposites in almost every single way, but they both are younger siblings who have like great potential, often considered to have more potential than their more high profile siblings. And I think they obviously have all these differences, but I think they would become friends, and I think they would work well together, especially since Mikey's probably closest brother is Donatello, who's also a technological genius. And Shuri has so much serious weight on her shoulders, particularly when T'Challa's gone and she is the Black Panther and the leader of her country, that like I think having somebody like Mikey who is more lighthearted and kind of helps keep you like not focused, but keeps you in the right context and grounded, like, you know, like, yeah, shit's going on, but we can also not like have our cortisol go all the way through the roof. We can crack a joke every now and then, or I can say a funny thing like cowabunga. And like also it'd just be cool to see like Shuri as Black Panther next to a talking ninja skilled turtle with
He has
orange.
to
Yeah.
wear one of those leather jackets though, while they're
Yes.
back there, leaning up against each other like
There
an
you go.
ape.
Yep. But yeah, I tried to think of like Mikey came to mind first, and I was like, who's like just
Yeah,
diametrically opposed to Mikey in almost
that's
every single
cool.
way, but wouldn't like kill Mikey the second they get a chance because he's annoying or like Doctor Doom, for instance, also completely opposite of Mikey, but Doctor Doom would snuff Mikey out the second he was like,
Oh yeah,
you annoy me.
yeah.
Whereas I think Shuri and him would get along great.
That's totally tubular, dude. I really like that. that was a dope pick. I like that.
I again the level of thoughts you put into it, which we talked about before, so I was kind of aware of it. I did not realize Michelangelo. And until you said like the last two hints, I was like, Peter Quill? Like I had no idea. So well done on that. Well done on that for sure. All right, Adonnis, the stall is no longer. I'm kidding. You can cook if you on demand.
Actually, while you guys were talking, it made me think. Like I was sitting up there, like thinking, like, who would I choose, and what, like we said, buddy cops, buddy cop duels. I'm sitting up there thinking of Rush Hour. I'm thinking of 48 Hours. I'm thinking of so many 80s movies. Lethal Weapon, of course. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking of that friggin' handshake that is a classic friggin' important part of our history. What's got you? What's with this this Thai bullshit?
Gillian, you son of a bitch.
Dylan.
Dylan.
That's what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking DC's The Question plus Marvel's The Punisher.
Ooh.
Them working together. We would have to break it down to some stuff where we're trying to solve a problem, solve a mystery, solve some case that is really messed up, but not on no galactic or planetary level. It's fucking up some shit in our city. How can we fix this? This guy, what are you doing here? Why are you doing this? I'm the guy that's supposed to be doing this. What are you doing? And the question, like, yo, buddy, like, chill out. I'm investigating, my dude. Like, chill the fuck out. No, you don't do it. And the bucking heads until when it's like, actually, that's a pretty good point. And then them working together. Now we got ourselves an 80s action movie. I think it would be great.
I think you're right.
I think it would be really fun. Because there's so many of the Marvel pairings and stuff like that with friggin' Spider-Man and Superman and all the other ones. I think one that would actually do a really cool pairing would be The Question and The Punisher. Them solving a mystery. Like, I think that could be like some real detective stuff. Mainly, that would be along that line work, like we were talking about before about Huckleberry, about the Wonder Twins, like things like that. It would give that vibe of like, oh yeah, it's all this and that and action and everything like that. But we getting like real serious. Actually, there's some real serious stuff that could happen. I think they would deliver us all the checks.
And you also kind of get that quasi paranoid, but paranoid with good reason because of what they've gone through as individual characters. You get that hard boiled element, which you already do get if you read, Vic Sage stuff and you read Punisher stuff in the 80s independently, much less you bring it together. That's a brilliant. I love that. That's a brilliant matchup. Yeah. So these are all fun ones. I kind of want to see some of these come to fruition. So that's fun. This was a nice little splash page one for this week. I'm a fan. I think a shout out to Josh and Adonnis for some of these topics. We're gonna keep it moving. But let's without further ado, we got just a little bit of news. How you like it?
I was not expecting that. So that caught me. Okay, all right.
I see you.
You have gathered my attention.
Appreciate.
I see you.
Much appreciated, John. I was ready for that to see what y'all thought. Anyway, let's talk about Batman Nightfall. Batman Nightfall. There is a 3-part release. The first part comes out 2 days from now, August 25th. You have a pretty good cast in terms of who's voicing the characters. So you have Scorpion from Spider-Man, the last one, Brand New Day, Michael Mando. He is Bane. You have Anson Mount, who is Black Bolt, and in not Injustice, in Humans TV show, and then also he's voiced Batman before in the Batman and Justice movie. He's Batman again, and you have Pablo Schreiber as Jean-Paul Valley or Azrael. So it's going to be split into 3 different parts. The first one will be coming out, like I said, in 2 days. The second will be coming out just before the end of the year. And then the third and final part will be coming out in the new year. And I'm excited to watch it. First of all, I was talking about how I'm gonna get a chance to acquire it, and then I'll just share my info so y'all can watch it. Figure it out. We'll figure it out, because I'm one of those people. I want people to watch it, and I think it's really cool. I'm glad that it only took them forever to go into the storyline, but this came out from 1993, 1994, and so what? 30 years later, 32 years later, we're finally seeing an adaptation, animated, but we are. And for those who don't know, this is during the time where Batman's still recovering from losing Jason Todd. He has Tim Drake as his new Robin, but he's still recovering from losing Jason Todd. And you have basically Bane breaking out all of the Rogues Gallery, which I used to say, I'm like, that's just made. That's just, what a weak move from Bane. You are strong enough to fight Batman head to head, but no, wear him down first by fighting all the other villains. But it was smart. And so that's what the comic storyline across all of the Batman titles. He has to take down all of these, all these different villains, whether it's Firefly or Killer Croc, or Bane takes the Riddler and puts some of the venom in the Riddler. So now the Riddler for a moment is cracking jokes and beating your ass, having that moment. And so I'm gonna have to go through all of that and then finally get back to his, Wayne Manor, find Alfred passed down the floor, goes, what? And then he sees Bane. And looking at the trailer and seeing Bane just pump up and it's so much bigger, fighting a fatigued Batman, well, you see how he breaks his back. And so I wanted to ask y'all, there's advanced reviews came out for it. If one review was more it's okay. Hour long movie, hour and change, which they said was kind of fast. But I'm one of those people. I hear the reviews. I see you. Good to know. I'm still going to watch it.
Yep.
There we go. That's how I feel. But I just want to ask y'all, what do y'all think about your memories of the Nightfall run at the time? And then how do you feel about it finally getting the adaptation years later? Is it must see? Is it yeah, I'll check it out when I do? How do y'all feel about that? Anyone, really?
I remember when it dropped. I remember the covers and all that stuff like that. I have a general understanding of the story, and I get what happened, but I didn't read them. So I'm eager to watch it, because it's okay, now I'll get more details essentially about what's going on and why this is such a pivotal part of the Batman runs, Batman's story and DC in general. So I'm eager for that. I've always liked Bane. I always thought Bane was cool. I thought that was when they showed him in Batman Beyond, when they showed the Bane idea, the concept in Batman Beyond, when all the episodes of Bane in the animated series, then the other ones, it was. I thought the idea of him was super cool. So when the comic The Nightfall dropped, I was like, oh, okay, this obviously has to be good, because I remember in the animated series, when they introduced the first Bane one, I thought it was so cool. That was such a dope ass episode. That whole, and then every time you met him later on, I always thought that was super cool. When Arnold Schwarzenegger was Iceman and they did Bane Injustice in that movie, I was just I really don't know what I have to do now. Like I'm not really okay. I guess I will take 2 of these and call me in the morning. It's like, I
No,
mean,
why you do that, man? Oh
Chill.
my god.
chill. Like,
What killed the dino? Yeah, no, we don't have to go into it. And I can't even do the voice.
Yo,
Exactly.
there's far too much. There's far too much. But
Oh man.
yeah, like I am eager to watch this. Will I watch it when it drops? Who knows? I've got a whole lot of work that I got to do at work for a long time. So, who knows? Who knows what'll happen? Who knows? Maybe I'll go into the bathroom for an hour and some change and just sit there and watch it unfold. It's called the restroom, not a rush room. Remember.
Well done. Well done. I love
Indeed.
it. I love the wise words of wisdom here. Josh, your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, touching on Bane, I think one thing that he often gets a disservice of, and we talked about this with Charlie yesterday, Corban, about like the Juggernaut in a lot of adaptations is like, oh, he's just a big dumb guy. Like, no, part of what makes Bane so fascinating is he's brilliant. Like Corban, your initial interpretation was like, man, you
I'm
could
the
just beat Batman's ass right now. Look at you.
Exactly.
But he did the smart thing. Like, let's wear his ass down. And like Bane's just a fascinating character. Later on, when he would be on like the Secret Six, really good character in that as well. I'm not a big fan of what they did with Absolute Bane, considering
Really?
Absolute Bane was dude. Absolute
smart.
Batman is already like 7 feet tall, 500 pounds. They made Bane like 3 stories tall,
Straight up.
and like
quoting
like 3 blue whales. Like,
quoting Aristotle. Like, but they made him very smart, but he isn't.
Yes,
yeah.
but
I know.
Again, I think it leans into the
absurd.
People view it more as like a physical threat, but he's very much a like intelligent threat to Batman too. And like obviously, I recall the whole like Batman got his back broke. That was a huge thing at the time. And like as a Nightwing guy, that was also the era where Bruce, like Nightwing, was just kind of shifting into the Nightwing persona and like being his own, and like there was still like tension between him and Bruce because of how everything played out. But like every single person was like, oh, so Dick's gonna take over for Batman, right? Like every single person thought that. and then it's like, no, here's this crazy guy named Azrael who I don't think at the time had been introduced before. It's like, here's just this new,
just come just before
like,
that. Yeah.
crazy guy, and he's gonna be Batman. You're like, oh, okay, let's see how this plays out.
Program killer. That'll be great.
Yeah, and like get like a lot of interesting setup, but yeah, at the time I was more of an X-Men guy than a Batman guy, so I didn't follow it directly.
That dropped during Jim Lee's run, right?
It dropped
what? The Batman?
I think it was early to mid 90s.
It was early to mid 90s. So Kelly Jones. It was Doug mentioned Kelly Jones, really.
Yeah.
Because Kelly Jones with like the spikes in the suit, in the cape, and the long overflow of cape and stuff.
No. But what I'm saying is Jim Lee's X-Men run. That's what was going on.
Well, that was I think just after.
That was early 90s. Yeah, that was 90,
I feel like Jim Lee
92.
Yeah, and this was 93 to 94.
So like, because when did Image get founded? Like 92, 93?
I think that was 94, 96.
Yeah. So something around there. So yeah, it was kind of in that range. But yeah, that was like one of those things that made like the news, like the death of Superman and Batman gets his back broken.
Yeah.
That like wasn't just comic book news. That was like people are talking about this shit on like tonight at 8:00. Batman needs pain meds. like Bane Bane blew out Batman's back. Wait now, what?
Pause.
But like,
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
yeah.
Oh Lord.
But no,
No,
I know exactly what you mean. I think that's
that like when I think about every time I thought about the scene, um, that was a big part of the movie. I always think about that friggin' scene, that cover when Bane did that. I was just like, it's time to die. You know what I mean? Like I think of that, and I think of that friggin'
be
cover,
painful
man.
for you.
Yeah, yes. It like, man, cool stuff. It's a cool story, and I like I said, I'm eager for this to drop and to see what they popping with.
Yeah, I'm very excited. It'll definitely be something to look forward to. That I'm sure when we talk next week, we'll kind of look back on. At least I will share some thoughts, that sort of thing. So
Supposedly.
listen, we're
Allegedly.
you see the new graphics here. I just made a financial investment with StreamYard. We're doing this next week.
We ain't got no time for nothing else, fam. We gotta do it next week.
Listen, let's go. The next thing we're gonna talk about, James Gunn. So we're gonna get James Gunn's DCU. We're getting Comic Book Apes back. We're getting the Gorilla Grodd miniseries, and so it's no longer a Jimmy Olsen series. He is a main character in it, but it's Jimmy Olsen and Gorilla Grodd, which I think
Well,
is
it's like the Daily Planet is following the court case against Gorilla Grodd.
the
So
people
it's like
versus Gorilla Grodd. Yep.
yes, it's a court drama
Move over, OJ.
genre, but it's by the creators of American Vandal, which is so fucking good. So like, did either of you guys see American Vandal when it came out? It was like, I think on Netflix.
Watch it later. Yeah, watch it later.
So it's set at a high school, and it's like a real crime investigation, like detectives investigating somebody spray painted a bunch of dicks
Okay,
on
I
like
did.
all the teachers'
You know
cars. And like it's so well done. And those people are gonna be behind this. And like I see like mixed bag where some people are like, who's asking for this? Like, we don't want Jimmy Olsen and Gorilla Grodd. Give us like Wonder Woman, Batman, etc. Like, again, I think he's not allowed to because of the merger, but also like I think James Gunn is taking a smart approach. Like, let's introduce different aspects of this universe in different genres and stuff. Because like it took Marvel quite a while before they were like, let's investigate space with like the Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff. It took them an even longer time, and some would say it still hasn't hit, of them investigating like the supernatural side of things with like Moon Knight and the Werewolf by Night.
Don't even talk to me about them, Johns. Like that
Yes.
puts me off.
Yes. And like James Gunn is coming out swinging in a different way. Like everyone expects Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and I understand that, but he's coming out with like, okay, here's like the warm-hearted Superman movie. Here's like kind of like a hunt pursuit type story of like Supergirl hunting down this guy that shot Crypto and also is just like a pedophilic
Killer
monster. Yeah. And then you have like, we're gonna also bring in horror. We're gonna see Clayface through this horror lens. We're gonna do like a court drama that and like it's not necessarily just gonna be all about Gorilla Grodd, because like, let's say you need to bring in a crime scene analyst. Hello, Barry Allen. Like they could cover other cases too.
They could.
Like there's a lot that you can do with it. And again, I get everybody wants Batman. Also, you're getting another Robert Pattinson movie too.
Maybe in 2028 at this point.
Well,
but
yes, but
like, yeah, I get what you mean. I guess,
but like, I think there is something to be said about like I'm not necessarily trying to make as much bang as possible right off the front by focusing on the big people. I want to like let's make this a lived in universe. Let's like see different aspects of it. And I saw an interview where somebody was talking about how um part of that strategy is it's like the comic books. Like comic books have wildly different tones, but they still exist in the same universe and it fucking works. So why do we assume like, oh, well, you can't have like Superman and like the Peacekeeper vibes? You totally can. Peacekeeper is not really operating in Superman's like vicinity really, and he's a totally different type of person. So it makes sense that his would be more vulgar and like dark. Like you can do these things. And personally, I always like seeing universes and connective tissue done that way, where
Yeah.
it's not like kudos to Marvel for actually pulling off a 22 movie like opus. Like fantastic work. I loved it, but also I don't need every post-credit sequence to set up the next movie or to set up a character for this or this. Like just give me connective tissue. I'm
Yeah.
the type of person where like I'm gonna be like, oh shit, that's Avengers Tower in the background that Spider-Man's swinging past. Like
Yeah.
I don't need you to be like, oh yeah, and I'm having dinner with Steve Rogers tomorrow, or like it
Do you
can
mean
just
Captain
be
America?
like connective tissue stuff.
Fam, like the anger that I have, the anger that I have for the potential awesomeness that is in the darker realm of things.
Yes.
Like I'm gonna be profane right quick. So I'm sorry. Cover your ears.
It's not for. I'm just kidding. Here we go.
Earmuffs.
La 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 la
Where
la.
the fuck is Blade? Stop pissing on that dude's back. Give that motherfucker his chance so we can get the Midnight Suns, man. I want the Midnight motherfucking Suns. Give me the Midnight Suns. That shit can be, because then we can go further with fucking Moon Knight. We can go further with Wolverine Logan. We can do some cool ass shit.
Amen.
Ryan
Amen.
Gosling is coming. Give me
Ghost
how
Rider,
Ryan Gosling coming, but we ain't got motherfucking Blade.
I don't
You
understand.
got somebody that could most definitely on multitudes of levels. We can get the Denzel, the Denzel Washington version of fucking Blade. And y'all sitting up there saying, "Well, you know, we can't really do that right now, you know, because we
Here,
don't,
Thor: Love and Thunder.
you know, but what you're gonna get." Ryan Gosling is Ghost Rider. We do, you guys would love it. We do. Fuck you, nigga. Give me the fucking Blade.
Yes.
And there
yes.
we are.
Thank you. Like
there was
honestly, like one of my favorite things in all of Marvel so far was that Werewolf by Night
one shot
special feature.
Yes.
Like you can do. And I think what's worked well for Marvel is when they approach these movies from different genre perspectives. Like Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man is a heist movie.
Yeah.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy is a space opera. Like
yeah.
Where's our horror movie?
Man Thing is waiting on you.
Yes. And again, it's super easy to be like, let's take a very talented actor who can learn sword work and martial arts, and let's have him kill some fucking vampires and maybe set it to some badass music.
It shouldn't be that hard. The plot should write itself.
I mean, it is. There was so much that it's literally right there. Just do it. Nike that shit.
Yep.
Please.
There you go. Just do it. And simple as that. Simple as that. All right, we're gonna kind of get to our last little part here. Comic shop talk. We've been reading and watching comics. Another week's gone by. Any fun pickups? Anything? I mean, Josh and I were at a comic store today. I'll be quick. I mean, I already kind of flashed my first copy, but I got a 1986 version of it.
An OG
Of
copy.
the OG Batman: The Dark Knight Returns,
Mhm.
with the original kind of different coloring. And I'm trying to understand and appreciate art a lot better. And so, like, I've read this book, I don't know, God know how many times, but I'm looking at, okay, let's look at the artwork. Let's look at the muted color tones, by Lynn Varley. How does that work in showing this darker, Gotham City? And like realizing, I didn't realize this, but like, at least to the best of my knowledge, you have that classic blue oval Batman, but then Frank Miller's the one who, in the second half of the book, goes into just that gray on gray with the black that we kind of saw as like the standard Batman uniform moving forward. But what that does to the panels is it's a lot darker because the background's already gray. Now the costume's already gray. It's only splash of color you really get is when Robin's there and Carrie Kelly and that pop of yellow and that green and that red. So this has been really cool to look back on it in an original way because the reprints are nice, but the colors are adapted to be better, like, better suited for what they should be, where you kind of get some of the flaws, but in a cool way. You get some of the more pure kind of artwork in that. So that was my one pickup for today. As far as what I read this week, I read a pretty forgettable Kevin Smith comic, Spider-Man and the Hulk, where I don't mind when religion's in comic books. I do not. I do mind if it's like heavy-handed and not done well. And so in this one, it was like basically the Hulk getting an exorcism to get the Hulk out of him, sort of, which interesting how they incorporate religion in there.
Concept.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
And we've seen Kevin Smith in his prime do that with like Daredevil and like balancing religion and Catholicism with like, him as a character. So we've seen that done. I would not say this one was done very well. Personally, it was a lot of puns, a lot of funniness there, but yeah, that was the gist of the story, and I thought that was an interesting look. But that was a recent one that just came out this past week.
So is Kevin Smith Silent Bob?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. So I was like, I honestly haven't messed with any of his stuff, so I don't know what he can do.
So
he had a really good Daredevil run. And then he also had a really good Green Arrow run.
He did. He also wrote one of the worst Batman stories ever.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag.
Very much so. And he's
but as far as I'm aware, he
Marvel
never wrote
Star
a
Wars
book that make you go like a little racist, Frank.
No, he did not.
So there's that. There's that. He hasn't messed up in that way yet.
Oh Lord.
But yeah.
No, I'm with you on that. So it'll be very interesting to see what that looks like. It'll be interesting to see what that looks like in moving forward. It's called Spider-Man Hulk Fire and Brimstone. So yeah, it's one that came out this week, first of like a mini series. So that's what I read. As far as what I watched, we can't talk about it, but I just finished watching Green Lanterns episode 2 or Lanterns episode 2. Highly recommend. That's all I'll say.
Well, hurry up and let me go, fam.
All right. Well, share anything you read or watched. Anything you watched? Fine. Share what y'all picked up this week or read.
I've been reading the 5-issue Moonstar miniseries because again, I think Danny Moonstar is woefully underutilized in X-Men. And we were talking about this earlier today, Corban. There were like two things that for the longest time and still until I found out that you were into comic books and we started talking comic books again, that got me back into comics. For the longest time, I was out on comics because just the constant return of characters who died in ways that like perfectly end their characters, like Colossus sacrificing himself to end the legacy virus that took his sister from him. And then like a few years later, they were like, that wasn't Colossus. That was an alien pretending to be Colossus. Yet somehow the alien decided to sacrifice himself to end the legacy virus. Because like, the fuck? And the other aspect is like, it's like a lot of sequels in movies and stuff where, or like subsequent seasons of shows, like everyone likes to talk about how Community season 4 was bad because Dan Harmon wasn't on it, and that like at the end of season 4, Jeff Winger actually like graduates and like becomes a pro bono lawyer, and like his arc is done, and then like Dan Harmon comes back and he was like, "Oh yeah, like fucked up really bad, and now I have to come back and be a teacher at the community college," and it's like that constant resetting to the status quo. And like we've had the same main X-Men characters basically since Claremont left. Like, and I love a lot of them, but I was talking with Corban, it took 144 issues of New Mutants and X-Force before anybody from the New Mutants actually was added to an X-Men team.
X-Men roster, yep.
It took 144 issues, 12 issues a year. That's a long effing time. And like still a lot of these characters haven't been given opportunities. And Danny Moonstar is like a protege of Cyclops in terms of like leadership and that sort of stuff. She's an awesome indigenous character who shoots psionic arrows. She spent time with the Valkyries in like Thor related stuff. Like her power, she can find like your greatest fears and create like very visceral like mirages of them, and like a great tactician, great leader, an empath as well, who in Krakoa was basically like Krakoa's therapist. Like there's so much potential with that sort of character, and the New Mutants have been around forever. This is the first time she's even got a mini series.
Damn.
And like she still hasn't been on an X-Men team. Because, and again, I love the resurgence he's had recently, and Cyclops is the X-Men. He is the face of mutants, I think, at this point. Like, but let's give some of these other characters like a fucking chance.
Let him breathe.
Like,
Let him get a moment.
you know, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been cool, like seeing her get a chance. And the story is like more tinged towards the Valkyrie stuff in terms of the villain and everything, but it's cool seeing her get to like be the badass that she is and that sort of thing. But I
Damn.
still haven't finished it.
Okay.
And then I've also been catching up on rereading the Hawkeye stuff with David Aja and Matt Fraction, and rereading some issues of Wildcats with Travis Charest's art, because I dig that dude's art a lot.
There you go. I love it. Adonis,
I
last
got
one for you go. Well, there you go.
I'll be honest. Like,
No,
I've been busy at work.
that makes
I've been
sense. That
busy
makes
on
sense.
and off the court. Like, I'm gonna be real.
Yeah, well, that's why
I
end
ain't
credits. The new slide is up, as you can see here. We are wrapping it up. So we'll start with you, Adonis, and work our way back to me. Any final thoughts? Any final words for the listeners?
Read other storylines. Make sure you check out other comics. Yes, Marvel and DC have some cool stuff, but go outside of that realm. There's other cool stuff out there.
There you go.
Adding to that, I will say, and I know this will make Corban wince, approach your comic fandom and reading like James Gunn is approaching the DC. Explore different genres, explore different parts of different universes. You don't always just have to be like, okay, well, here I gotta get the Superman comic, the Batman comic, the Wonder Woman comic, you know, maybe Aquaman comic, Spider-Man. Like, branch out, try some new things. Like, if you go to a dim sum restaurant, try a lot of different things. That's the point.
That is true. That is
treat it like dim sum.
You know what? There we go. I'm gonna agree with that. I'm gonna agree with that. As my wife's friend said, there's great stories out there. There's great authors. There are authors, creators in general, storylines. Give it a go. You can ask us out here on the chat. You know, you can follow other, YouTube channels, stuff like that. Find those great stories, get involved, read great comics. And for Adonnis, for Josh, for myself, we're Frosty. Y'all stay frosty. We'll see y'all next week. Let's get it.